Now, right from the beginning of restoring this belly pan, we have had issues with the work that the person that worked on it before we did imparted into the part. And today, I want to share this. We found that there is one thing that he did that made the part almost useless as far as Vlad is concerned. I wanted to show what he did with the backmasking that I would have done differently. Of course, that's easy for me to say. And I would have, I'm at the end of the video, if you stay tuned, I'll show how I would do it a much easier way, a much better way. And this was a really sad day because we spent a lot of time on this part, and you can watch it all in 4K. Today we have probably what's going to be the most challenging part of doing this, aside from getting the paint match, which looks like it dried up pretty good from the last video. I think Vlad's going to be real happy with this. I'm going to do one final check with him, and if he says he's happy with the color, what we're going to do is, and it's going to be a lot harder than you think it is, and I've run into problems with this before, to get this old tape off. Now, somebody put that tape on. I don't know who put it on. I don't know the gentleman. But that tape has been on there for 6 months. That's not working in our favor. Also, the paint edges have a tremendous amount of paint around them because it was painted in Brooklyn and painted twice here, and it's just getting the tape off with a clean edge is going to be very challenging. So the first thing, I want to make sure I have plenty of new blades. This is going to eat up a box of blades very quickly. And we'll get down to the shop, take care of the farm issues. I don't think we're going to be able to paint today. This is something everybody would look at this and say, oh, that'll be 2 minutes, just pull the tape off. Not if you want clean tape edges, not going to happen. But I'll show you, and I'll try to add any information that I've learned over the years that would maybe help you get better tape edges. And there's a video just before this, I don't know, maybe a month ago, we made a video about what tape to use on what tape edges and what the different tape characteristics were. If you're new to painting, that may be helpful to look at too. Now, no matter what kind of backmasking you use, straight lines, curves, angles, edges, getting the tape off with that nice, crisp, clean line, that can be challenging. And even on simple designs like this, to get the corners and get all these little edges nice, and when you're all done with the clear and buffed out, that you can rub your hand and not feel it, that's going to be a little challenging, and we're going to take our time today. This is a key part of this job. And of course, got to feed the fish, take care of the farm, and we'll be ready to get down the shop. You probably can see it rained all last night. It's supposed to rain on and off today, but we're going to see what we can get done. Ooh, we got some beautiful lilies coming out here. And needless to say, we get fresh cut flowers for the house every morning. Now, one more cup of coffee and I'm ready to go to work. Oh, it looks like the birds are hungrier than they normally are, and they really are always hungry. Kind of like me. Now, because our channel is basically to share good information, motorcycling, painting, or whatever, anything that you're passionate about, one of the things that I have found a lot of people have trouble with is how do you hold the part while you're doing this? Now, we're going to be working on this lettering. And here's a couple of things to remember. You always want to think of what's your friend and what's your enemy. The worst thing you can do here is use old tape. I'm pretty sure this fella used old tape. That stacked the deck against us. The worst thing you can do is paint over, and we've sanded right up to that line. I've done it several times. And I'm sure the fella that did this originally. So there's a lot of paint around those edges, and I'd like to get the line as crisp as possible. So some of it is out of my control. We're going to have to see how bad this is. The other thing, old tape is not your friend. New tape, to put this tape on and take it off the next day would have been, and put one coat of paint, would have been perfect. We got the exact opposite of that. So, and tape that's 2 years old is a lot stickier than tape that's brand new. And remember, heat is your friend. Warming the part up. If we could work out in the sun, it's raining today, so we're not going to be able to work in the sun. Let the radiant energy warm this part up. We're going to use a hair dryer. Warm is going to be in our favor, making us as warm as possible. And all of the things you can do to stack the deck against, we're stacked as much as you can. Another thing is to always let the clear. Now we had to put clear on here because what would happen now, even though I've just washed my hands, I would be leaving fingerprints on everything. And then that's going to have the possibility of leaving fish eyes when we put the final clear on. And we have the opposite problem now. This, normally you would have a sticker that's up above the paint, so you got to build up clear to go over the sticker so you don't feel it. We have, the sticker is going to be lower than the paint around it. But the biggest thing right now is I have to find, and I got to look in my box of cutting instruments and find the sharpest razors and do a little test and see if I can just score that paint line. Because if I can't, and I'm back and pulling that tape up, it's going to start wanting to delaminate that paint that's a lot thicker than it normally would be if we did this what I call the right way. Maybe that's not the right wording, but so we're going to give this our best shot. This is a good trick, by the way. Always have a bunch of some kind of way of holding apart paper towels, because if you try to do this sideways, I want it I want it to be under fluorescent light so I see every mistake. So I always keep all my cutting things in one area. Now, a couple of things I found that really are useful. I've found there are times in doing work that a sheetrock knife blade, because it comes to a real good point, and we'll try that, of course. There's a lot of things. All of the X-Acto knives, and I've made special shapes and sizes, the round ones. These are all handy tools to have, the cutting tools. But there's one tool. This is one that you can get at Harbor Freight for $1, I think. You break off the end of the blade. But the one I always like to have it, if I'm going to do a job like this, it's called a number 11 blade, an X-Acto number 11. You can get the blades at any hobby store or from Brodak.com. And this is the first one we'll try and see if this is going to work the way I hope it does. Because this is really, you have to be delicate, it's time consuming, and you have to be careful. And I don't want to run the risk that I pull up some paint along the edge and then I'm basically back to ground zero. So this is really going to be, I got to really work on my patience here. So this is, in essence, a brand new blade, and what I'm going to try to do is just score. I don't want to cut all the way through. I want to score that paint edge, and on a straight line, if I was really, really careful, I can get it to be just like I used a ruler, but I'm using the edge of the tape that's actually laid down, which isn't straight, so a ruler is not going to do me much good here. And this is the kind of thing where you just... You've got to be patient and careful and work on the fluorescent lights, and if you see you have a problem, you go to plan B. Now here's where it's tricky. I want to pick the corner of this up with the number 11 blade. This looks real easy, but boy, it is anything but easy. Oh my God, there's a lot of paint on that. Oh, boy, that's a lot. I'm going to try to score it again. I tried to just easy score it, but boy, that's not going to work. Let's see if that works. Just a little bit better, but not perfect. Let's score it twice. We'll try this. We really have to go right through, almost into the plastic, to get this to be the way we want. So I guess I ought to just stop fooling around. Now I know the edge on this is not going to be as perfect as if we did it using some other method, but this is the part we have no control over now. Oh. Boy, that is terrible. That is really rough. I'm not sure how that's going to look in the final thing. Anyway, we can try to get some of this edge done. And again, I anticipated this was going to be a lot of hours of just doing what I'm doing right now to make it as good as we can, because that paint, there's so much paint on there. And this is what this whole day is going to be about, is picking away at this, trying to get it as nice as we can. Now I knew right from the beginning this was going to be a problem. See how thick that edge is? Boy, you can feel that. To bury that is going to be a lot of coats of clear. A lot of coats. Now I knew when I pulled up that one little piece, this was going to be impossible to get to the quality level that we wanted. And I called Vlad, and we talked on the phone for a while. And he basically, we're going to abandon this, and he's going to bring the other part over, and we're going to strip the other part, the twin part to this, and do this the right way, and he's going to get the decals made. Now, because we're always trying to share information, I sent some pictures of this to Vlad. I have no idea what this gentleman was thinking, but he doesn't want to have this. He doesn't want to have, and I understand he's trying to keep this bike totally original. So there's no point in even trying to get the rest of this off, because I can see by how thick this is and by how sloppy the tape is on there, like, I don't know, I don't want to be too critical. But there is a much better way to do this. Now, what Vlad decided to do, he does have another part. What we think the plan is going to be now, because we're into this, we're going down with the ship now, is we're going to take his other part, strip it, go down to bare plastic, and that'll be a good video too. Grind off all these designs and decals and everything, paint the part silver, and he's going to get a whole set of stickers made, which he has a friend that can do that. So I hate to say this, and I hate to be a person to say that, but that when he put that tape on that piece, he basically, all of the work that we have into this piece now, and I mean, I probably have 30, 40 hours into this part, it's all for nothing. But the truth is, anytime you start a motorcycle restoration of an older bike that it's difficult to get parts for, and this certainly qualifies as one of them, and it looks like we finally got the paint to match pretty well after 5 tries, and we're still missing parts of that. Well, I'm not sure where this, where Vlad is going to get the rest of the energy to work on this. This has really gone, and the whole idea of this is to share even the bad information so that you plan this ahead. When you do a job like this, you can never do that, what he did. That basically ruined the whole part. If you're a fussy guy, and I know I am, and so is Vlad, that's like the Titanic hitting the iceberg. Now this is material John Pothia sent me years ago. We were doing some backmasking type of things. There's no name on it, but I know they use it for this purpose. And this is one of the ways that even in modeling you can use this for your advantage. I just drew a design on here with an ink marker. It doesn't matter what the design is, but you see, here's the advantage. What happens is, now you can see. Now supposing the fellow in Brooklyn did this. Let's just pretend, because this is you couldn't do that word design. That was toast. So I didn't even know that that word design was under there. But what we're trying to do is share useful information. So what I do is, I carefully go. I don't even have to go all the way through this material to do what I'm doing. You could use a razor blade. I don't have to even show this. And by the way, several companies make this. I think you can even buy it in body shop supplies. And any design, whatever design you were looking to mask. Now you could press this down with your finger a little bit harder, and probably it's made to release. When you pull it up, a little corner came up there. But now you can see I'm backmasked. Well, if that MV Augusta lettering was backmasked like that, I could have saved probably 50, 75 hours of work. Now when I'm all done, the idea is to put the paint on thin in this area. And then when you're all done, take your fingernail, pick that up, and that's how it should have been done. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. I feel bad about it, but now this is special stuff. I don't know the name. Maybe John can in the future find out what the name is. We'll put it on there. But the beauty of this is made to release. It's made not to pull paint up. Now in this case, I didn't even paint this, so it doesn't matter. This was just, I was testing that silver color. But So at the end of this, now I know we've abandoned this, that part is gone now. We've got to get the other part and start at ground zero, sand off all the paint, primer sealer it, silver it, get the new decals, and in the end, when I saw the part, pulled up that first piece of tape, I knew we're on the Titanic and there's only one lifeboat left. So maybe the thought has crossed your mind, why doesn't he just edit this day out and skip that whole thing? And well, no, that's a mistake I wanted to share. Not trying to embarrass anybody, but that is. And there is a much better way than masking tape. This could have all been done with that clear material. And so if you benefit from watching this video and you need to do something like this, invest in that clear material and you'll thank me later. You'll thank me now, you'll thank me later. I'm not sure. But anyway, we try to put useful, positive information on all the videos. And I always remember that famous show that I watched a lot of episodes, and maybe you did too, Bitchin' Rides. And doing custom cars isn't easy, it's bitching. Well, doing motorcycles sometimes can be bitching too. All of these old bikes, there is always some tricks that if people share them, I think the world's a better place to live. I try to share what I've learned, what I know about backmasking, about tape, about paint. I've tried my best, and even to show, like we did today, the things that go off the rails. Now just remember, my videos go back to 1987. August 87, I made my first video of model airplanes and repairing them. Now, what's important is to think is over the years, I have really suffered with some crazy problems, usually in repairing things. Today really was very, very sad for me, and even sadder for Vlad, because we did put a lot of time and effort and everything into that part. But from this point on, when we start with a part that I can get all the paint off, I'll never have that. That was just, and it was hidden under tape until I pulled that tape up. I had no idea that was under there. Part of that, of course, is on me. I should have suggested right from the get-go. I feel bad about it now. I should have said, we got to strip the part. And we could have saved probably 70, 80 hours of work, many, many videos. But by you seeing my mistake, I hope you can learn something from it and getting a color match on this. Even though this project, as I say, it's gone off the rails, there's been a lot of educational things that people learning how to paint can pick up, especially these things with color matching, number one, or backmasking, number two, or all the information about tape. Now look at a tape that's on that bike. Just think of how many hours of tape that is in the middle of the winter. And everything I've done with modeling and everything with painting motorcycles and restoring them, I've tried to share with people. I've tried to share the good. I've tried to share the bad. And the whole object is that the world's a better place if we share. And thanks so much for watching.